Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. What we're going to be doing today is removing and replacing an existing driveway. And I really liked how he gets that bobcat down from there. And going up, it's even funner to watch. This guy that's operating the bobcat, his name is Juan. And this is the first day on the job for him. I got him. I have a lot of demo guys in my phone, so I wanted to try this guy out, and he's did real well. He's definitely been doing it a while. Here's all the problems with this driveway and why it's getting removed. You can see how it's raised up here and it's cracked off the corner. The brick is starting to sink because they didn't really do the brick the right way. What they did was, you can see the saw cut. This driveway it didn't have brick ribbon. It wasn't even planned on having brick ribbon initially. They came along and cut the ribbons in to the existing driveway. And that's never a good idea. But the main reason they did that is because they wanted to run irrigation and low voltage across. And you can see the irrigation pipe that was right underneath that brick ribbon that they cut across. Now this driveway is about 700 square feet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a little excess dirt on this one, and I'm going to actually bring in some nice road base. There's another irrigation line at the bottom. Probably the one at the bottom had failed, so they ended up cutting that ribbon at top and then dropping some new lines at one point. And this was kind of interesting up here at the top. The footing for the garage across the entry of the garage door is actually beyond the actual building line. So it was probably just, a lot of times when you dig these foundations out with a backhoe, you lose your lines and stuff, and your footing gets in the wrong place until you pull the string lines, start setting forms, then you realize, oh wow, this footing's about 2 feet in the wrong place. Then you got an extra wide footing because you have to re-dig it. Instead of backfilling, you're just pouring a thicker footing or a wider one. Another odd thing was that particular footing that did jet out, the concrete driveway only went about an inch over that footing, so a really thin sliver coming over the top of that footing. We had to chip it all down. We had to saw cut to remove it cleanly from the garage floor. This particular base, it's just ground up old concrete. Like the concrete that we removed, that'll go to the recycling center, that'll get crushed, and then it'll look just like this material that we put in for base. Putting a little primer on this one. I usually don't, but I had some. And that's your glue there. A lot of times when I do use primer, it's on old pipes, older pipes that are they need cleaning. But on new pipes, I'll just go straight with the glue, the blue glue. Like those clear glues and stuff like that, you're going to definitely want to prime. They don't get hot enough to get a good bond. But we went ahead and ran some new pipes since we had the driveway out. We have two. One, he's going to probably pull low voltage through. The other, he's going to pull. It's going to be for irrigation. So what I did when I started looking for the 2x4s, I knew there was going to be a break point in the driveway, like a crown. This driveway's kind of crowned to follow the contour of the land, because you want it flat up near the top, 8 feet or so on those adjoining sidewalks coming in. And then, so you're going to have a crown automatically there, and then you can just kind of taper that crown out all the way through the whole, until you meet the sidewalk. So that's why you want to, on 2x4s, I just cut it in the middle and crowned it. We changed the entrance a little bit to this side yard. We went with a nice radius to match this other side. Those holes underneath the city sidewalk that I put in, that's like a keyway. Instead of doweling in and drilling into the sidewalk, I just dig underneath a little bit. And that way, the concrete, if they try to change in height where they come together, that'll help lock them in so they can't move. I'm going to run the plate compactor over this 2 times. It got real nice and tight. And we're using 3/8 rebar, 2-foot centers. You notice how I staggered every other one? That way I have a full bar every other one all the way to the edge. And then shorts alternating. It's not a necessity, but it looks good. Now that's the kind of glue you want to use if you're going to be adhering anything to concrete, and it works great for this foam. I sprayed on the concrete, and then I also spray a little bit on the back side of the foam, let it set for a few minutes, and just push it up against her like contact cement. Real nice and clean. Concrete can't get behind it because it's glued on there really well. If you ever notice, if you put felt or anything against another existing concrete, you end up with concrete behind it and you're constantly digging it out. It's a real hassle. But with the glue, that problem is solved. I've got an angular bar there on a potential crack point. I wrapped the columns with plastic because he did just have this house painted, so it probably won't be getting painted anytime in the near future again. Just arrived at the job site. We got Alex over here. Pulled up his pump. Olin. He's got a new rig here. And I found a trick recently with wearing gloves and trying to operate a phone. You just cut the tip off. Now you can use all your digital stuff and you still got the glove protection and warmth. Yeah, I cut all my gloves now. I tried that technique and I liked it so much. I just went ahead and cut them all. All my gloves have index finger missing the tip. There's the fiber mesh going in. What I did, added some water on the ground to my bucket with the fiber. That way it dumps in there and mixes in real easy. We got Associated Ready Mix out here, also known as A&A. Our mix design here is a 3250 PSI city mix. That means it doesn't have any fly ash. And this is what you want, especially cold weather. The fly ash, it just lays there, it really doesn't do anything. So you just want cement because it reacts. Here's your 3-foot wood bowl float. And you'll notice how I'm bull floating it perpendicular to the rod direction. That's what you want to be able to do if you have access. That's how you're going to get it the flattest you can. You like it?
Oh, nice.
That's a good one, huh?
Yeah. Bueno.
Muy viejo.
I lost my funny
Float? Oh, you can make a funny float.
With that one, I can make one.
Yeah, nice funny float.
You want $10? Yeah.
Nah, I don't have my other one. I lost it.
Oh shit, that's only $1. Sorry, never mind.
Put a zero. As we're pouring this out, we're pulling up the rebar as we go. And the nice thing about being 2-foot centers, it's easy to not step on the rebar. Now that it's all edged and bull floated, threw the Fresno on there. Also, we're going to be doing a hand joint around the perimeter of this. We're doing 14-inch band. So he has a little a wide edger there, and he has an adjustable joiner that he can slide at any distance. And the reason we went with 14 inches is because the columns that are up there at the garage door, it just worked out and matched a little bit better. What we're going to be doing after this, after we get those perimeter bands in, I'll come back the very next day and I'm going to do a 45-degree angle saw cut pattern in both directions. We're going to do about 4 or 5 foot spacing.
Mensaje. Because he was working with me yesterday. And I told him, you coming tomorrow? And he said, I don't know. He sent a message to Thomas. And Thomas is mad with him.
Here's the funny float he was talking about, converting my hand float into a funny float. Which you could do because my hand float's big enough for one. Some weights on the Fresno on that pass. Putting duct tape on the steel slider so he doesn't slide down the hill. Because without that, you just slide all the way down. Oh yeah, it's holding. Yeah, it's holding, huh? Where did you get this idea?
That guy told me.
Who?
That guy told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it's me. And I told her, nah, you're loco.
So you tried it, now it works, huh?
So everything working or not?
Yeah, it's working. So that duct tape's a good idea. It stabilizes you a little bit so you're not sliding down the hill. Either that or you just use the fiberglass sliders. Those stick a little bit better too. If you notice the other guy, Raul, on the sliders, his are fiberglass. And he didn't have to put duct tape on those.
The concrete, we get the red one.
Yeah,
And
that stuff.
You put the 1%? No, 2% raw.
Only 1%.
Oh, 1%?
The red dog when I cook it.
So that day I took the kids to dinner.
Look at that, two-handed. That's the way to do it.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah. That shit is hard, boy.
Look at ooh, yoo.
This is the horsehair broom. What he did was put a piece of angle iron on top just to keep it straight. A lot of times those wood brooms, they start bowing from being in the moisture, drying and moisture, all of that. If you put the angle iron there, you get a lot more time out of them. Here's the second day, starting to strip it. If you notice in the beginning, the setup and rebar, I did all that solo. And then also the saw cutting, I'll do all that, the complete layout, one guy. I'm going to use my sledgehammer to tie the chalk line on, and I'll move it around. How I'm starting the layout, I just drew a center line in the middle of the driveway. And then I'm going to work on my angles off of that. So all my points will be centered on the driveway. And then all the ends will work out evenly on both sides. So you'll have the same size on both sides of the driveway where the squares tie in. Like, see the little leftover triangle right here on the side of the driveway? It'll be equal on both sides by starting in the middle. Using the DeWalt vacuum cordless, and then I'm using the Skill Medusa to do the cutting with. So it's grabbing about 90% of the dust that I'm cutting, so there's not going to be a lot of cleanup to do, in other words. The way I laid this out, I started from the middle. So on both sides, they're going to be the same size cuts. You have the same size little pieces on both ends. That's the beauty of starting in the middle. Right now what I'm doing is I'm using a framing square to just bring through the cuts from those 45s across the band. And I'm going to use the DeWalt 9-inch cordless. Cut them real quick with that. And I didn't cut every line. It's about every other line on the 45s that I brought through the band. If you bring them all through, it just gets too many joints and they're not very evenly spaced. So I just kind of evenly space them. It's usually about every other one on the 45s that you bring across. Like if you brought both of those across right there at the bottom screen, you'd have a 4-inch sliver there. That wouldn't look that nice. Well, that about wraps this job up. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification button. That way you'll be notified on our next upload. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.